Well, look at this, guys. I was out of town for a little bit and I come back, and lo and behold, crypto is doing quite well. And I want to take a look at the price chart for Bitcoin. We're going to cover some key elements, some technical indicators that I haven't talked about in my more recent videos. And also, I've got a bit of crypto related news that I want to go over. This is just one example. And then I'll cover what's going on with XRP at the end of the video for their price chart. So let's go and start off with this. I'm looking at Bitcoin on the monthly price chart, and a big reason for that is because I want to show you what's going on with the VWAP, this purple line here. So we have a closure that took place last month, and as it is right now, we've seen a really nice run up. So it's establishing itself quite well into this upper territory zone. And when you cross above on the VWAP, that is a bullish indicator. So we've actually seen historically here over the last several months, volume month over month going down, but we are seeing right now we've got a very low amount of volume for the month so far. We're about 1/3 of the way done. So if you essentially tripled this up, it's sitting a little bit less than what we have here for the month of April. So we'll see how this goes. And of course, these things move in cycles. So as volume moves down, we'll start to see that swing back up. Price movement wise, we're seeing some good action in that comparison of what's going on with the volume itself. And then if we go ahead and zoom out a tad bit, another indicator you're going to see is this right here, the Bollinger Band. We had a nice little pinch that took place back in October going into, actually around August going to January of 2024. Then we saw it widening up. We got a nice run up there in February 2024, consolidated for a bit, and then another nice explosion, that Bollinger Band getting even wider, pushing into November of 2024. So as we continue to go, you're seeing this Bollinger Band getting wider and wider and wider. And why is this important? Because these Bollinger Bands, when they get really tight like this, we start to see a massive explosion. And so what's interesting about that is that from the Bollinger Band perspective, it's almost suggesting that we can enter a phase of consolidation. If you look at things from a macro perspective, what's going on with the economy, with inflation, you've got also the rising gas prices, and there's a lot of uncertainty that's happening behind all that, including the war with Iran. It would not be surprising if we see this move sideways for a bit. Bitcoin might be trying to line itself up into a key position where when it does move sideways, it can hold itself pretty well. And we're seeing that right now. We're above $75,000. In fact, we're even above $80,000. And when you're looking at it from a Fibonacci retracement point of view, you got $78,000 right here, and it has established itself above that. It might end up trying to retest right around in that range, close to the $75,000 before it potentially makes another major run up, trying to go towards around $97,000 and then up to $100,000. And let's go ahead and move on to some crypto related news. So the first one that I want to talk about here is in regards to Ripple. So we've got JP Morgan, Ripple, MasterCard, and Ondo complete cross-border redemption of tokenized US Treasuries on the XRP ledger. So this is really nice seeing this collaboration between these big names, especially seeing JP Morgan, MasterCard, Ondo also up there, but of course a lot of people have definitely heard and their ears get perked up, MasterCard and JP Morgan. So Ripple really making some moves out there. And then up next, look at this. This is really big. A lot of people have associated XRP being integrated into the Swift ecosystem. And here we have an older post. Smoke had posted this. Swift confirms it will use third-party digital currencies via ISO 20022. And he goes on to elaborate again, because this video is back at the end of March. Swift will use third-party currencies like XRP. Just a reminder to everyone that's out there. So there's a really big opportunity seeing if Swift actually comes in with this. Now here's another very big opportunity. And this was a Twitter space that was being hosted by Ripple X. And in here you can see Brad Garlinghouse, you got Marcus, XRPL, and what they go on to say is XRP is being described as part of a potential US strategic reserve. Keyword is potential, but if it becomes a US strategic reserve, this is massive. The United States financial system moves over, look at all these zeros right here. Million, billion, what is that? Million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. It says 1 quadrillion annually. I don't know if this is actually accurate. I think maybe they added too many zeros. Potentially 1 trillion. The U.S. financial system, well, oh, hold on. Overall, all the different industries combined. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that more, but this is claiming $1 quadrillion annually total, right? The U.S. financial system. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments below. Again, I got to look into that a little bit more. I thought it was 1 trillion at first, and that's a lot of zeros. Up next, the DTCC and Ripple XRP integration timeline. So you've got April 2025, talking last year. Ripple acquires Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. May, DTCC patents name XRP. XRPL is bridge liquidity asset. October 2025, deal closes. You got Ripple Prime. December, SEC no action clears DTCC tokenization path. March, Ripple Prime live on NSCC directory. May, Ripple Prime joins DTCC tokenization working group. And then we got H2 2026, limited production tokenized trades July, fully launch October. The path for XRP to finally access to the derivatives market. So we're looking at potentially plays around July to October here. And from BSCN, Russia's biggest exchange prepares to launch native XRP index. Russia's largest exchange, MoEX, is less than 55 hours away from the official debut of the MoEX Ripple Native Index. This deployment integrates XRP price tracking directly into the national financial stack to facilitate institutional digital asset settlement and domestic trading pairs. MoEX's launch of the XRP index establishes the technical foundation for a regulated crypto to fiat corridor across the Eastern Bloc. And also what we're just talking about right here. So that date specifically we're looking at is May 13th in regards to MoEX's XRP index. Just a few more days. And spot silver prices surge over 7% as the Iran war and inflation uncertainty escalates. So we're seeing a lot going on in the precious metals and also stock popping with all this stuff, including crypto. The S&P 500 erases all losses and turns green despite the US-Iran peace talks appearing to stall. And now let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with XRP. So this is on the daily. We were looking at Bitcoin over on the monthly, but XRP here on the daily right now is sitting at $1.47. We just got moved into the green. As I was preparing this video, it was actually just slightly in the red. So it's made a further continuation up just in that short amount of time. And we have a really nice candle that moved yesterday. At one point, we saw a low of around $1.41, shot all the way up to over $1.50, almost $1.51. And with that candle closure, we also have a high amount of volume that took place yesterday. So we had 3 days of candle closure in the green, one virtually on the edge of closing out red. And the volume was actually pretty lackluster on that day too. That was back on Saturday, May 9th. And with this run up, what we're looking at right now is a trend. We have 3 daily candle closures all above the $1.40 level. This is a key Fibonacci retracement zone. So if we zoom out on the price chart right here, you guys can see we've seen essentially a consolidation taking place right across this line, right? Going for quite a long time. And it's trying to make these moves up. We had a big run up that took place going all the way up to February 15th. It got rejected, came all the way down, started seeing if it was going to make some lows, and just kind of hung out around here. Didn't want to go to $1. We didn't see it go to that level. And then it tried to make another run up. We saw another push here back on March 17th, pushing up high, then a pullback. Another instance, April 17th, 1 month later. So we're seeing almost 30-day intervals, right? We've got the 15th, the 17th, the 17th, and then here we are starting to see another push up right here, and we're just several days away from hitting the middle of the month. So if this cycle repeats, I would not be surprised if we see it trying to retest a point. And then the big question is, are we going to break through? So it's showing a trend of 3 instances here, just trying to make those rallies, right? Trying to run it on up, couldn't quite do it, pulled back. Tried to run it up, couldn't quite do it. Here's the third instance. So to see it try once again would not be surprising. However, what is concerning is we have these highs here, right? So a peak of $1.67 roughly. We have $1.61, then dropping down to $1.50. And comparatively, we just saw yesterday essentially that same price. So what's good about this is it's not like it's forming lower points, lower highs. We have potentially broken out of that trend, suggesting that this could keep trying to make those retests, trying to break through, but it's at a lower point and getting rejected. Would make it a bit scary here looking at these low points of around $1.28. But yeah, my point is that that does not look like it's happening. It looks like we might actually be able to break out of this and have a further move up. So right now you definitely want to look at about $1.51. Yes, $1.50 is psychological. $1.51 means that it got above these 2 points here. And then we see a run up potential if you can manage even these other levels. I always want to keep an eye on these two, $1.61, $1.67. Then we'd be looking at $1.83. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about all this. Share your thoughts with us down in the comments below. And there's a crypto exchange called DTCC. If you haven't checked this out yet, I do have a referral link down below. They've been around for 13 years. You can get a nice bonus here. That's a 10% deposit bonus. And if you want to research it more, you guys can find that out down in the description below. I appreciate it if you use my referral link. And that's what I got. Thank you so much, everyone that's showing support for me over on Patreon. Those of you guys that are YouTube members, be safe, God bless, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.